Over the last 4 years, hundreds of books have come on this podcast with a dream. But to accomplish that dream, they would have to please master bookmen Ben and Nate.
It's just about standards. I just want the best.
Most of them fail to meet Ben and Nate's tough standards.
Fucking wake up or piss off. Donkey!
But Sarah J Maas delivered an exceptional book. This month, Ben and Nate discuss one of her earlier works, Throne of Glass. Will it rise to the standards set by A Court of Thorns and Roses, or collapse under the pressure, broken and defeated?
Never felt so shitty. I want to go home.
30 contestants, the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to be the king's personal champion. This is by far the most deadly group of warriors and jewel thieves ever assembled, and they will do anything to get ahead. The expectations are higher than ever, and you won't believe what happens when one of the contestants is a secret super assassin. Stay tuned for the most shocking and unbelievable month on Hell's Kitchen Words About Books edition. So how's it going, Ben?
It's going well. Do you think this book would be improved if Gordon Ramsay was there?
Yes, absolutely. If he were the king.
Ramsay were the king. No, but like if he's just, I mean, he needs to be more involved than the king. Like he needs to be sitting there like calling Selena an idiot sandwich.
Yeah, I guess he would have to be the
have to be like the weapons
the
master or
arms
whatever
master.
that guy.
Yeah.
You're shit. You are so shit you don't even realize what you're doing.
Yeah. So covering Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. That rhymes. That's how you pronounce her name. I don't know what the series is called. The Throne of Glass series? What's the series?
I thought that's what it was.
It could be. I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research because this is the... I'll tell you why I didn't do a lot of research in a minute.
Originally called Queen of Glass, but it is, in fact, Throne of Glass, according to
Queen
this
of Glass
wiki
might be
that I
giving
just
a little
looked
too
at.
much away. Not that Sarah was particularly concerned about giving too much away. So how do you want to start this? Do you want to give like general impressions? Color this? Because you want this to be a long-running series.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be.
God bless you. I hope it is. I think you're going to be straining to get 3 parts out of this one, but we'll see.
Yeah, you know, might end up being 2 parts,
Yeah.
which would be unfortunate. But you know, roll with the punches. I could read something else, I guess. But yeah, I was originally going to make it a thing where, because you put this on the Patreon last year. Should we do a Court of Mist and Fury? That's the sequel to Court of Thorns and Roses, or should we do this, or should we do both? And most votes were for this.
Yeah, so that was kind of a weird poll. I don't always talk about this as like a Patreon bonus because I can't promise I'm always going to do it. But every now and then when I have a question about like where we should go planning wise or how something should be covered, I'll just throw it to the patrons and see what they think because they're the most invested in the show. Presumably they're paying for it. So, somebody had mentioned on social media. I don't think it was like a regular viewer. And a couple of people seconded this idea that you should check out A Throne of Glass because it might have even more of what you're looking for than a Court of Mist and Fury.
Who said that? What are we looking for? I guess let's start there. What were you looking for?
Okay, so I think back when we were first covering this, I mentioned I do another podcast Scheduling is a nightmare for me. I never know when I'm doing anything anymore. But I think this one comes out every 6 weeks now. The heroin addiction, which was not my naming. You can blame Brad for that. I don't know if I like the name, but it is a series I do on the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast feed, where we review Korean romance comics. Particularly a genre called Otome Isekai. And these Otome Isekai all have like very, very similar setups. And it gets into the weeds, but they even have very, very similar art a lot of the time, often reusing assets from the same licensed libraries. And they all have this like vaguely European, vaguely fantasy, weird like princess nobility manipulating plot and a love triangle. There's almost always a love triangle. And I mentioned when we first started covering A Court of Thorns and Roses, I was like, this is very similar to those Korean romance comics, which I like. I don't mean them being similar is not necessarily a point against them, but often, if you're not familiar with what isekai is, again, I'm getting into the weeds for people who don't care about this stuff, but
oh my god,
basically, there's this subgenre. It's big in comics and anime and stuff of like a person from our modern world being reincarnated into some kind of fantasy world. And with these Otome Isekai in particular, characters are often reincarnated into a romance novel they read or a romance game they played. But often it's a novel.
I wonder why that would be.
This is the novel they all get reincarnated into.
Okay.
It's almost exactly this. In fact, I kind of wonder if it's not exactly this, or if it's not like some subgenre.
Throne of Glass? Or
Throne of Glass. It's
oh my god.
So this is why I think people recommended Throne of Glass, because I might have mentioned I was into the Otome Isekai stuff, and people were like, oh, then you should check out Throne of Glass. And if you're into Otome Isekai, you will know exactly what I mean when I say this is the novel they all get reincarnated into. This, like, it's this or something inspired by this or very close to this.
Is it usually shorter so they don't repeat themselves over and over again?
It's no. Short is not a thing. Brevity is not desirable in the isekai community.
Great.
I don't know what to tell you about that. People,
I think you said there is one. There's like a self-published isekai that had 800 in a year. Or
800
like
in 2 years. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which is more than one a day.
And as we said, still better than Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson.
I don't know if I'm going to commit to that. I didn't read it. What I will say is it is a content hungry audience. And I actually don't mean that with a lot of like malice or judgment. It's just to say that the people who read this kind of genre tend to read a lot. And they want a lot to read. And they are kind of okay with exploring every single character in depth, every single character's love story. Everybody pairs off. It doesn't matter if it's realistic. It's not about that. And I think Throne of Glass, it feels very much in that style, right down to the point where, like, I've often given the Otome Isekai stuff a pass because it feels kind of like punk to me. Like a lot of it's indie, a lot of it's like one creator, a young creator often publishing their first like one or two stories, and it's got this edge to it where it's kind of unrefined and they make mistakes, but that's part of the charm. And Throne of Glass makes mistakes, and it has a kind of unrefined edge to it. but it's also like one of the most successful fantasy books of the last several decades, and she's made tons and tons of money on it. And I read another book called A Court of Thorns and Roses that was written later in her career that doesn't make as many of these mistakes.
So my thing was to kind of compare the two and then decide, do we want to keep going with one or the other? And has your opinion changed since I talked to you a few days ago?
A little, not as
Oh
strong.
my god.
Not as strong of an opinion, but to preview where we're going with the episodes, I think I am more invested in the A Court of Blah and Blah stories.
Yeah,
I think,
for sure.
personally speaking, I am more curious to know what happens in that story than I am in the Throne of Glass story. But I don't dislike Throne of Glass as much as I did in the first.
Yeah,
In
it's
the
rough.
first
It
100
pretty rough.
pages did not do a lot to sell me, I
It
will
is,
say.
yes, it is definitely rough at the beginning.
I got on board by the end. By the end, I was having fun. I don't know if that mirrors your experience or if you were just angry the whole time.
No, I definitely liked it more as it started getting going.
I guess, should we talk about the
It
biggest elephant in the room? The biggest problem with the book? I'm betting we're going to agree
take it away
on what it is. I'm Selena Sardathian. I am the world's most powerful assassin. I'm in a room full of men right now, and I could kill all 5 of them easily. But I don't want to right now.
Yeah.
I have no reason to want to go with them. They're leading me into a different kind of slavery than the one I've already been in. But I'm gonna chill for now. I could kill them. I just don't want to right now. Also, sometimes I cry. Sometimes I'm sensitive. Sometimes I just need to be held. Everybody does, you know? Yeah, it's fine. But also I need to steel myself. Against all the troubles and travails. I was a slave in the salt mines of whatever for a year. And I was the world's greatest assassin. But then I was betrayed.
The world's greatest assassin.
Also, I'm 18 years old, and I spent the previous year in a salt mine. So I became the world's greatest assassin, I guess, at age 12 to establish enough of a reputation for everyone in the entire freaking world to have heard of me.
Trained at like 8 or 9.
Yeah, so I think she had to be like, she was just murdering wave after wave of men by 12, I think.
Yeah. No, the constant, wow, I can't believe he dropped his guard. I could slit his throat right now. Man, I could disable all 4 of these guards with my hands tied, kick all their asses, grab that sword, stab all of them, and escape. Easy. It's like, do it.
Yeah, you know what changed? You know what changed in the second half of the book to
she
make
got her ass kicked repeatedly?
No. What changed in the second half of the book to make me start liking it is she started doing stuff instead of just telling me she could do stuff or thinking about doing stuff.
Yeah, that is where one of my first bullet points was, I don't know how I like all these I could kick all their asses thoughts, because she does it a lot early on. She's like, wow, the Crown Prince came here. I could take out all 4 of his guards right now, grab one of their knives, take him out, and escape, no problem. He's an idiot for coming here. And I was just like, okay, do it then.
Yeah.
I don't believe you can do that until you show me you can do that.
Do you know what, like, to flip this around, if it was, and I understand there's more complexity to it than this, but like, imagine Selena's a guy and she's saying the exact same things. You're gonna be like, wow, this guy's a dick.
I cannot wait to bully this guy.
Yeah,
and stuff him in a locker.
Yeah.
This is me. Nate's the one bullying you.
Yeah, there's a very like early on in the story. Now we're in her head. So that she's not like saying this to other people, but there is like a very like talk shit, get hit kind of mentality. like, come on, Selena. Like, either hit somebody or stop talking about how you're going to hit them. I believe you. I have no reason not to believe you, but like, she also makes a number of bizarre choices. Like, if you could escape, if you could kill all these guys and escape, and I have no reason to believe you couldn't, why don't you?
Well, by the time... Actually, that's a good question. Later on, it's that she has one or possibly two boyfriends.
That doesn't seem like... Yeah,
but
early, like when the opportunities to escape first start cropping up, like, she's not really close enough with either of those guys. And can we be honest? Like, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe longtime readers of the series are gonna
all 8 books
are gonna laugh at me right away. But like, can we agree the captain of the guard is the Jacob of this story?
You are 100% correct.
Yeah, like the prince is obviously the one, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who she ends up with.
Yeah, that's got to be. I mean, I haven't looked up any spoilers at all because I could see myself.
I just wanted to know about the fucking God. We'll get to this, but Lady Opium. Like, I was like, what is she here for? Why does she keep hanging around? I don't get it. And like, she does stuff in like 3 books. And I saw stuff on Reddit where they're like, I was so sad when she died. She's my favorite. I'm like, okay, so between now and then, she's going to become less of an annoying little shit. But man, I did not... I needed to know, like, why? Why are you here?
Get out of my sight. Get out of my sight. Get out.
Having read a lot of Otome Isekai, I can tell you there is often a love triangle, often a best friend, often a trusted maid, and often a mean girl. And the mean girl arc can go one of 2 ways.
Oh my God.
Either the mean girl is she experiences rock bottom, the main character shows her some kindness, and instead of spitting in the main character's face, she accepts it and becomes a better person, and you like her twice as much.
You fucking hit that right on the goddamn head. That is like beat for beat what I read happens.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've existed in this world for a long time now. I check out Heroin Addiction on the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast. I'm well versed in this stuff now, Nate. But the other option is, of course, that the mean girl is hopeless. She's not redeemable, and you will watch the main character utterly destroy her. Which is a little bit... I would gauge Sarah Maas as probably not. I don't know. It was tough. I wasn't sure which way that was going to go, because simply describing her as an opium addict, and oh my God, I did the audiobook for this one.
Yeah.
And
me too.
Voice the narrator gives that girl is like, the narrator hates that girl. I can tell you that. Oh, I'm so addicted to opium. Oh, my head hurts, dude.
Does that opium addiction come up naturally? Because I was just like, I just got done smoking and my head hurts. I need to lay off the opium. And I was like, wait, hold on, back up. What was that about opium? Did I just miss that bit earlier in the book, or is that like the first mention of it?
She mentions needing a pipe, and from that moment I assumed it was opium because that's what a noble would probably smoke in a vaguely European.
None of that Gandalf fucking
none of that
Hobbit
leaf. No. No. None of that Peter Jackson marijuana, Tolkien meticulous treatise on tobacco. Yep, this is just opium. She's just into opium. I'll tell you what, she handles it a lot better than Rin.
Ooh.
Shots fired. She doesn't commit any genocides. But also we'll find out she's being magically manipulated.
Oh my god. So yeah, do you want to start at the beginning?
Yep. So walk me through I believe we start in the salt mines.
Yeah, Selena Sardathian. World's greatest assassin, except for she was betrayed. Possibly by someone that she knows and
that's who betrays
cares
you
about. Yeah.
If it's a stranger, it's not really considered a betrayal.
It was a betrayal in the sense that, like, I really wanted to kill the king, and the king did not want to be killed, and so I got gotted. And she's been here for, was it a year? I think it's a year.
It's a year.
And they like to whip you and then let your wounds stay open so they get infected, and then whip you some more.
And then they rub
it's a really inefficient way of
rubbing salt you mined into your wounds.
Yeah, really inefficient way of getting salt, but
I don't necessarily think this place is about getting salt.
Yeah, I kind of got this weird impression that like they weren't going for efficiency.
Yeah,
okay?
No, I don't think this is an OSHA
I think they were
operation.
Maybe just torturing people. Like that just so weird, right?
I'm beginning to think like you're that guy who shows up at the mines and he's like, guys, I'm starting to think like they don't even want the salt. I'm starting to think this is just about us having a bad time. And then they murder and eat you.
So, the Crown Prince of Otterland? Is that
not the best name? Not the best name. I did have a hard time not thinking of the animal.
Yeah. I think what they have, did they have griffins or they had
otters. In my I genuinely did not hear anything after otter.
Okay, well in that case, there you go.
The king he eschewed magic, right? And took as the symbol of his house an animal that doesn't rely on any innate strength but uses technology, the mighty otter. Because they can use tools to open shells.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
When he should have picked the dolphin because of what his empire is doing to all the other kingdoms. It's very similar to what a dolphin would do to a person stranded at sea.
Oh my god.
Don't look that one up with the safe search turned off. Anyway, the Crown Prince of Otterland is here, and he's like, yo, I got a proposition for you. I really want to piss my dad off. You know that guy you tried to murder? He wants a personal champion. Now, when I think of a personal champion, it's normally like they'll fight your duels for you and they'll guard you. But nah, he needs someone to do some wet work, you know? He doesn't have enough people lying around who will do the torture and murder, like, say, everyone in this salt mine. So, proposition, you join a Hell's Kitchen style tournament where we will bring forth a bunch of potential champions and you'll compete in contests and there'll be an elimination every week the weapons master will call you a fucking donut or something and tell you to pack your bags and get out and take off your jacket.
This cannot be true. What is that there? What is that there? What is that?
This is
Yeah, it's fucking raw. Raw.
And if you win that, you'll be my dad's champion for 4 years. You'll get a cushy job, tons of money. He definitely won't kill you at the end of your service and bury you in an unmarked grave. And then after that, you're free. So what do you say to that? Oh, and also there's a Duke here who's being an asshole. He's going to get Kane. He's going to get Kane.
That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane!
I wonder who your final opponent is going to be. It's not a secret.
Was
It's gonna be that
Kane
guy.
a wrestler?
Yes.
Okay, then I was thinking of
And
the
now
right guy.
he's the mayor of a town in Kentucky.
Oh no!
And he promises that there will be no child drag shows in his town.
Are there?
I don't think there was ever a risk of that, but thank God he got reelected on that premise.
I mean, didn't Kane basically perform in drag for most of his career? I mean,
No, he
do I need to look
performed
up
in like a full bodysuit.
how much
that looked
makeup
like
he
it
was wearing?
Flames. I don't think he had any makeup. He had a mask and I think a wig.
Hang on, I gotta look up Kane the
Pretty sure
wrestler.
his hair was not that long. His gimmick is that he was a horrible burn victim.
6.5 hours later.
And he was the Undertaker's brother. And he was
I
a
thought he
monster.
was related. Is the Undertaker crazy too?
I mean, they're all kind of crazy. The Undertaker, he's a zombie man sometimes, and sometimes he's a biker. You know.
1 eternity later.
Anyway, yeah, Kane. He's gonna show up later. He's gonna be a big old strong burly man.
Do you think Sarah J
And the
Maas was
Duke's
thinking of the
champion.
wrestler?
1 pair of pants later.
Because it's kind of described like this guy.
3 days later.
He does get buffer, and eventually his muscles are just like ripping out of his shirt.
This guy definitely gets heavier as time goes on.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
We're going to do a competition, and you're going to arrange these cups in order from most poisonous to least poisonous. And you have to drink the cup you say is least poisonous. Whoever gets last place, you get eliminated. You take off your jacket and you go into the hospital because you drank a really bad poisoned cup. All right. So she's like, I could fucking kill all these people and run through and run away and never be seen again. But I accept your challenge. Let's go back to the Capitol. I don't even need to train. I can just win. Throws up everywhere immediately because she is so out of shape.
She throws up a lot. Because
She
she's out of
does
shape.
throw up a lot.
Like,
I have never thrown up from running, and I am very out of shape.
I've never thrown up from running. To be fair, I've never run as hard as she did. But it's weird that it goes on for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, I know coming out of the mines, you're going to be like malnourished and it's going to be a lot on your system, but like she
Again,
throws
they're
up,
not even
like,
eating the salt. Like, come on.
you're not even eating the salt. I don't know if that would help them. I think water is probably the probably the tougher resource.
So she's got Commander. Is it Kale?
Kale.
Kale. Kale. I kept thinking of Calthas from World of Warcraft.
Kalthas.
For the spelling, at least. And so he is the commander of the Knight's Guard, or whatever it's called. He's the Lord Commander.
Can I
and
briefly
he's 22 years old.
discuss something out of order?
Sure, Ben.
Kale.
Not like we haven't been.
Captain of the
Yeah.
guard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, before the story's over, Kale has to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And he goes to pieces immediately.
Ben.
He has
I've
never
never
killed
killed
anyone.
someone before, okay?
How are you captain of the King's Guard if you've never killed someone before?
It wasn't part of our training, okay?
No shit. You don't normally
use the sword.
You normally need some on-the-job experience before you can become the captain of the King's Guard.
Well, I wounded a lot of my opponents, and then we took them to the salt mines to be tortured to death, Ben. I didn't do the killing, okay?
I don't like that arc for Kale. I thought that was a bit silly.
I've never killed before. It was just so easy. It's like I just swung my sword or I stabbed him with it, and he died.
Yeah, that's why they make him sharp.
No one told me.
You're not supposed to saw his head off with a rusty knife.
No one told me these things would be so dangerous, all right?
They assumed you knew. I thought that was so weird. Like, you would assume he'd at least have to be like, okay, the kingdom is just conquering everything, right? Otterland is just stomping all the other nations. The flag of the otter flies free over the continent. And,
over the eel.
Yeah, over the eel.
Eel way.
And she's just at a zoo naming countries.
So he's not a military leader. He's the King's Guard or the City Watch Guard or whatever. And I'm not going to say he got that appointment because he is the Crown Prince's best friend, but he's totally a Nepo baby, and he's never seen real combat experience and definitely didn't deserve that.
I'm just saying,
how skilled he is.
If I'm the king, okay, if I'm the president of these United States, God willing, fingers crossed, vote for me. 2024, write in Ben from Words About Books. They'll know who you mean.
Ben from Words About Books.
If I'm the president, I don't want if a Secret Service guy has to shoot somebody who's attacking me, I don't want to see that guy staring at his hands and falling to his knees and going, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Nobody told me bullets would do that.
Get that guy out of here. I'm not saying like I'm a big tough man, like I could kill without remorse. I'm just saying like I don't apply for jobs where I need to. I'm a book podcaster. I know my powers, I know my abilities, and I stay in my lane. Maybe KL can be the librarian. I don't know.
He could be the guy that is assigned to protect RFK Jr.
I'm okay with that. Maybe that's what happened to RFK Jr. He's been drawing too many word marks and he got the worms in his brain.
Oh, that worm in his brain explains so much.
You guys say word marks sounds like a real long way of saying letters.
Yeah, but the word is WYRD, so it's different.
Is it?
Weird marks. The weirding way, Ben. There you go.
Oh, you got me. Okay, Dune, I can't pick on it.
All right, so they're at a forest that's full of evil and magic and yada yada yada.
But there is no magic.
Fae.
The king made it illegal.
Yeah.
It's illegal to have magic.
Like how when you make crime illegal, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore.
Wasn't that like Donald Trump's platform at one point? He was going to make crime illegal.
I wouldn't be surprised. Did you know Selena used to be a magic user in her youth, Ben? She had magic in her blood.
Yeah, she sure does mention that once and never again. And then okay. Can we skip around again?
God damn it. All right, Ben, sure.
Who do you think Selena's ancestors are? Do you think Selena is
going to have royal blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe Fae blood. Why not both?
Because do you think? I mean, this is all but stated by the end of the book, but like that one queen that like founded the kingdom, who was like half fae, she's got to be related to them, right?
Probably.
Now we're getting
Which
into
means
like
she's distantly related to the prince.
Well, I was gonna say now
which
we're getting
means
into
it's
like the
A-okay.
Aragorn Arwen situation where it's like, okay, but like, you know, if you're Elrond and you're looking at Aragorn, like that's your brother's great grandson, and like and he's gonna get with your daughter. I mean, that's just like,
Hey, it's probably not going to be a lot of inbreeding. There's so many layers between them. You're probably good.
Genetically it's fine, but your family tree still has a loop.
I would argue you could probably find a loop in a lot of family trees if you zoom out far enough.
You're absolutely right, but I'm not usually as aware of it, like in an appendix. Like people don't usually go out of their way to make it clear to me that the loop hath occurred. That's a criticism for Tolkien and Sarah J Maas. I think, maybe. I could be wrong. I've only read one of 7 to 10
I am
books.
guessing that you are correct, though. So they arrive, Ben, at the castle. It's a stone castle, but on top of the stone castle is a glass castle. I don't know why. It sounds like it would be really hot.
I was to understand the glass castle was made by magic.
I hope so. That is my because otherwise you would just burn alive, right? The sun would just magnify through like you were an ant and you just get crispy. So they're like, all right.
Everybody's really tan.
There you go.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, here's the thing. We're going to introduce all the champions to the king. He's going to be real intimidating and scary, and you're going to pee yourself a little bit. But also you're going to want to kill him. And you're going to think about how you could just kill him right now and, like, do it. It would be best for everyone. Why aren't you Okay, never mind. All right, I guess the moment is past. So the king, he's going to go do some shady shit, but he'll be back by Yule Mass. And he's going to be Santa Dorian, and that's the crown prince's name too, Dorian and Dorian. Santa Dorian's going to come back, and he's going to give the gift of being his champion to the lucky remaining ones.
And 3
final
pounds of
4.
Candy.
There you go. That
happens.
Real. That happened. So, god damn, I could go for 3 pounds of candy right now. Anyway, yeah, at the end, the final 4 champions are going to have a duel. And there is a point in the book during the training where Dorian, the Prince Dorian, I'll refer to him as Dorian and the king as the king. Dorian is like, yeah, this whole thing's... Yeah, Dorian is like, yeah, this is actually kind of boring because it's pretty obvious it's going to be Selena and Kane in the finals. And, yeah, no, I'm 100%, you're correct. But luckily, they spice it up a bit in the interim because it's like, it's obvious where it's going, but it keeps it interesting enough with other stuff happening that you're like, okay. It's not just, we're having a competition.
Well,
and,
she also gets, like, there's Knox who helps her out. He's another one of the contestants. There's also that, like, Poison's kid.
He's a jewel thief. Selena is pretending to be someone else who is, in fact, a jewel thief.
The Lady Lillian.
Yeah. And
Wait a minute. Shut up. Isn't Catwoman Selena something?
Kyle.
Damn. That's why they said jewel thief. I bet this is a Batman reference. No, Sarah J Maas is a comic nerd.
Yeah.
I
can see
bet
that.
that's legit a Batman reference.
Wow. Look at you. Okay. Oh yeah. So the whole thing is she is going to just hang out in the middle of the pack, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to excel.
It's my high school
Then
grade strategy.
She won't get eliminated.
Yeah. Don't want anyone to know my full powers. Better just skip a couple homework assignments. Yeah, I tell you the truth, it's also my podcasting strategy. Every chair squeak you hear is carefully calculated to make you think I'm just not quite a professional.
So they're like, all right, we're doing an archery contest. You're going to have targets
An
that get
archery
further
contest?
and further away.
I need you to just layer all the Robin Hood Men in Tights things that this is a direct ripoff of.
Oh, is that what? Again,
I'm guessing it's actually
we'll do
more of a ripoff.
Hell's Kitchen Robin Hood edition.
I'm guessing it's more of a ripoff of the actual Robin Hood story, but I could only think of Robin Hood Men in Tights, where he splits the arrow in twain, and it's like, do I get another shot? He gets another shot. I have Robin Hood Men in Tights memorized.
So yeah, she holds back and she hates every minute of it, Ben. It's an archery contest. The worst archer is going to take off their jacket and go home. And by home, I mean back to the pit that we pulled you out of. And Kane keeps trying to jeer her on, and she hits the bullseye on the furthest target, but she held back enough so she wasn't first. And it's their strategy. So she's not at the front of the pack, except, oh, by the way, Kane's sponsor is the Duke asshole from the beginning of the book and knows exactly who she is, and so obviously Kane is going to know who she is, and he does.
Also, there's like always an evil Duke in an Otome Isekai.
God damn it.
Or a Marquess. Or a Marquis.
I prefer Duke. It's easy.
It's a powerful
Count or
it's
Earl,
a lot of
then a Duke,
and a
then
hard
a King.
K.
Duke.
You can just
It's also
feel
my
the power.
granddad's name. My granddad was Duke.
Duke Creed.
Someday, Ben. Someday.
That's what you should have named your daughter.
She open hand slapped me in the face this morning.
Oh god, I would give her a candy if she did that again for me. Oh, I need to have a word with your daughter.
So anyway, obviously Selena doesn't get eliminated from the archery contest, and then she's being kind of courted by both Kale, who is Jacob, and Dorian, who is Edward. And
yeah, I mean, well, okay, so they're only Jacob and Edward in the sense that like Kale is the one that just doesn't have a chance.
He's the odd man out.
He's the third wheel. But their dynamic I like a little bit better because they actually they're not just two different flavors of the same hot guy. Like in Twilight, you know, Edward.
Excuse me, but they're not two different flavors of the hot guy in Twilight because Edward, to my knowledge, is not a child predator. So
Yeah, there's no way to not go there.
Assassination of his character.
Arguably, the 100-year-old man dating a 17-year-old is not the child predator in that love triangle. No, in this, first off, way less problematic than Twilight. Everybody pretty close in age. Everybody's over 18. Good job, Sarah J Maas. We have often said on this podcast, how easy is it to just make them 18? And then it's solved. You don't have to worry about it.
And she's not secretly It's not a secret that she's 18. No one is like, oh, she looks 12, and then suddenly I'm 18, daddy-o. That was a special book. That was a
special book called Powder Mage. And I remember every detail of it, even though I strongly disliked it. No, not problematic at all, I don't think, so far. Aside from the power dynamics, but what are you gonna do? Every medieval romance is like that. So like the Prince Dorian is, which by the way sounds an awful lot like Darien, which is the dub name of Mamoru Chiba, the prince in Sailor Moon Tuxedo Mask.
Oh my god! And he did the Sailor Moon thing in Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yep. And so he even kind of acts like Mamoru. But the prince is all like, he's
pronounced Marmaduke.
That's offensive to somebody. No. He's like a pretty boy. He's now, you're supposed to like him because he's described early on as not smelling of perfume and fancy things, but of horses and steel. He's a real man. He doesn't ask his men to do things he wouldn't do. He gets his hands dirty. He's the kind of guy who leads from the front. You're supposed to like him. He's a decent guy. He's openly flirtatious. Free with his gifts. A little bit of a fuckboy. Gets around with all the girls in the castle, but he gets embarrassed when he flirts with her. Now he's been with dozens of women, presumably, but when they hold hands, he blushes, and that's kind of hot. That's kind of hot when a guy does that for you, I assume. And
I assume
I don't flirt with a lot of guys. I don't have a lot of experience with that, but, except you, jokingly, until you notice.
Yeah.
But then Kale is like dark and brooding. He's got a big emotional wall up, but he shows.
But why?
He shows his concern.
He's never even killed a dude before.
He's never even killed a guy. How dark can he be? No, he's a good guy too. He's dark and broody, but he warms up pretty quick, and he's more protective and more concerned with practical things. He doesn't have his head in the clouds quite as much as the prince does. So you've got two dudes who are like, either of them are a pretty good choice, which I like, even though it's pretty clear it's going to be the prince. Two strong contenders. I can understand why she likes both of these guys.
Yeah, but like maybe one of them should start flirting with a child to make it like swing the scales really hard in one direction.
No, you want to know how I like the book? Like, this is a sign that I like the book, is I've become invested in the ships, and I even have a plan for how this can work out and make everyone happy.
It's called a threesome.
No. No, not this one. I don't see this one going that way, because Kale, that's not his.
That they're just going to introduce another woman for Kale.
They already have.
Oh my god.
Nehemia is right there.
Well, that was my thought.
Yeah, she's military minded. She's very practical. She doesn't take a lot of shit off of people.
Kind of royalty.
Yeah, so Kale can get his princess. Selena could get her prince. I think everybody can pair off, be happy. They can have kids, and their kids can be friends.
Yeah. Just like Star Wars.
I realized it as I was saying it, and I don't care. It's cathartic. I don't think you're reading this book to necessarily challenge a lot of your closely held beliefs. You're reading this book because you just want to see the right people get the right stuff for once. And also,
Wow.
like, there's a bit of tension in Assassins and stuff. I'm defending this. I'm defending this from your cynical criticisms.
Okay. Well,
I still like Court of Thorns and Roses.
in that case, 100%.
Yeah.
So here's another thing that also got me, at least at first, Ben. What is one of the things that Selena likes to do more than anything else? Why, Ben, there's a library here full of all of these unloved and unread books. I will have the Crown Prince send me a bunch of books for me to read, and I will read these books, and they will be a gateway into another world, Ben. Books are magic.
Yeah.
It always makes me cringe just a little bit when an author talks about the magic and wonders of books.
Yeah. Well, okay. So in Court of Thorns and Roses, I mean, maybe she's already received this criticism and went the whole other way in A Court of Thorns and Roses, because that girl can't even read.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, she has to read, because what kind of assassin can't read, Ben? You're going to read a sign. One sign is going to be like to the village of liars, and one is going to be to the village of the people who always tell the truth. And you need to know, like, where do I go? And you don't want to have to play that game with the one guy between the two villages. You just want to read the sign, and that will take you to the right village so you can kill a guy.
I'm sure she was trained for that exact scenario.
Yes.
What I think got me the most is not that she likes to read, and this is corny. It's fine. It's just a nitpick. I don't actually hate this, but like, everybody reads novels, like fiction novels.
Yeah.
There weren't a
and
ton
also
of those.
Porn books, Ben.
Yeah, well, there definitely weren't a ton of like spicy porn books. I mean, there were, but they were kind of like sly about how they spiced it up.
Nah, it was just straight up in the King's library.
Well, okay,
dude got around.
So I don't know if you have a lot of experience with this, not having done a lot with romance. So apparently,
hey, I am the esteemed writer of a romance novel.
That's true. Well, no, you're not. That was
an
Chad
erotic
Dingleton.
romance sci-fi novel. You're right. That was Chad Dingleton, my close personal friend, I've never been seen in the same room as him, but we're different people. Trust me.
So I think both you and I are fairly open towards the idea of romance novels, but when Dorian picks up The Thing, the romance novel, and he reads a page, and he's like, "Oh my god!
They're transforming. This alien is transforming into people and killing them."
He picks up the romance novel, and somebody's cupping somebody's tender booble or something. And
booble. I hope those are the exact words.
And he's like, "Oh my god, you read this trash?" That's apparently a big thing that women get criticized by men for. Men criticize romance as being
I just criticized my wife for reading Spare.
Yeah.
She apparently read that whole thing in a day.
I got a lot of problems with Spare.
I wish she would read porn books.
I got a lot of problems with Spare, but hands down, the biggest problem I have with Spare is like that stupid alternate history thing you didn't even read that you made me read. Stalin's phallus or something.
Yeah.
And
he was a secret agent.
I couldn't do it. I can't look at Prince Harry anymore. Or sorry, average guy Harry. And well, rich guy Harry. But no, that's the thing. Like, women get picked on for reading spicy romance, even though, and they tend to get picked on for it by fuckboys like Dorian, you know? Like, what leg
Yeah.
does he have to stand on?
You could be really having your boobles cupped by me, and like you're over here not having that happen.
I wonder if that's like the insecurity it's based on. It's like, how dare you want to fantasize about a romance where this guy is like a, whatever, but you don't want...
This guy is actually trying to care for your sexual needs instead of just pounding you into submission and finishing and going to sleep.
Or, having...
What's wrong with you?
Having some kind of psychic intercourse at a diner before the cyborg attacks. Extra Sensual Perception by Chad Diggleton, out now. Another book I remember of reading.
Oh, you still owe us an audiobook.
I don't know if I can do it. There's just too many people live in my house, which is to say one.
You'll have to wait until she leaves for work or food or make up an excuse. I need you to go to Sheets, but like the Sheets all the way on the other side of town.
Oh God.
But
yeah, there's subtle shots at modern romance memes, I guess. Which I bet the audience really loved.
She's a reader who reads things.
Well, so is every girl reading this.
You screwed me and you're fucking useless. What are you doing?
Sorry, Chef.
Yeah, do me a favour.
Yes, Chef.
Take that off and fucking about a bit. Get out! Get out! Hey, you! Leave the jacket and get out! Get out!
Where were we?
She reads books, Ben.
She reads books, yeah.
The first test happens, and Chef Ramsay is like, now you may have all noticed that one of you isn't here. That's right. The Eye Eater was found dead. He was ripped apart from the inside, and it was just a drunken bar fight, is our running theory. We're not going to look into that anymore. Do the test. I think they came up with that theory when the second guy turns up dead. So champions are turning up dead, Ben.
Yeah, they keep getting in bar fights with like an angry grizzly.
Yeah. There's claws on the ground, just carving through the stone. Brains are being eaten out. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
And Kane just keeps getting bigger.
You think that maybe he has a new workout routine and maybe some protein powder that we should all mimic, because he's getting jacked.
Yeah,
that dude is jacked, brother.
We got to find out a secret. In the meantime, I'm going to keep my eye on Nehemia. I don't trust her.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So Nehemia shows up around this time. She's a princess of Eelway. She's from Eelway to learn about Otter Land. And she doesn't speak Otter-ese very well. But what if secretly she does, Ben?
I thought it was pretty obvious she did. Like from the beginning.
Well, Ben, she does. Plot twist.
Every time.
We find that out later in the book.
I'm just going to rule of thumb for everybody in the world. Don't be impolite in anything, but like also never assume somebody doesn't actually know English.
Yeah.
They always know at least a little more English than they're letting on.
Yeah, did I tell you? I told you, but I don't think I said on Words About Books. My wife, before we started dating, went on a foreign exchange trip to Japan, and people in her group were taking selfies with Japanese commuters on the subway as if they were props.
Ooh.
That's cringe.
Isn't having your phone out on the subway like inappropriate in general?
I think everything they did was inappropriate in general, and then they didn't want to try sushi because it had raw fish, and they almost didn't try. God, what is it? It's in the ramen. It's like bacon but better. It's the pork.
Oh, chashu.
There you go. Yeah, my wife had to convince them like, you eat it. It's delicious. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's
You
just
know how many hot dogs you've eaten?
it's just thinly sliced pork. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like
Why are you going to another country if you're not going to eat their food? Don't go. So now, a new test begins, Ben. You're all going to climb. You're going to do the Mulan thing. You're going to get a flag on top of this pole. You're all going to climb up there. You get one tool.
I thought no.
And
Now you described this as the Mulan thing, but I was picturing it as like a
it's
flag
a lot
on
more
top
intricate.
of the like battlements or something, and they have to climb like half a castle.
Yeah, it's a lot more intricate and higher up than that. And Selena, she took the hardest, slowest way so that she wouldn't stand out. And also she just put tar on her hands and feet. And Grave, who is going to show up as the semifinal opponent that she will effortlessly smash, not in a sexy way. He tries to kill Knox, the other jewel thief, except he's actually a jewel thief, and she saves his life, Ben.
Oh my god!
Yeah. She's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, you kind of wonder,
In
like,
doing that,
who
she
has she
lost the
killed?
event.
How did she kill them? I want
Well,
like
she had a weapon, and they had exposed throats, and she said she can disarm you and kick your ass and slit your throat and eat your face, all in a single breath.
yeah. You know, the way I assassinate, I just wait till they're not looking and I bash them on the head with a rock.
You coward. I always wait till they're asleep.
You do it. You do what Putin does and just like coat doorknob
The
and
poison.
some of
Yeah.
that shit. Yeah.
So, at some point a champion tries to flee, and they take that chef's jacket. You know what I'm saying? They forcibly take it off of his corpse after they pin him full of arrows. Which again, Kale did not order that one.
She
Ben.
actually
He
asks. She actually asks the one guy. Why do I want to call him Dorian?
Because you've made a
Sailor
comparison
Moon,
to
So she asks Dorian, she's like, did Kale give the order to kill him? And Dorian's like, no, Kale's kind of weird about that.
What was he going to do if there wasn't a standing order? Yell stop at him. Tackle him.
Shoot for
Chase
the
him
leg.
down. Shoot for the leg. Arrows have never killed people by penetrating their leg. We want to cripple him and then send him to the salt mines where he will be tortured to death. But again, it's not me.
I assume she has like 10 books to explain this to me, but like
8, but yes.
Whatever. Don't underestimate her. She's not done yet. Like, she could always write more.
No, she finished Throne of Glass.
Sure. Okay.
She's on to A Court of Thorns and Roses, finishing that up.
Didn't she just release a new book in the Throne of Glass universe or something? What's the last book in the Throne of Glass universe? When was that published?
House of Flame and Shadow came out this year, or will come out this year. Let me see. Throne of Glass. Oh, AI, Kingdom of Ash. The final book of the Throne of Glass was published in 2018. However, in 2022, Maas said that she might continue the series. But that's the AI. The Google AI is horrifically wrong.
I've been having long talks with Windows AI, and it's stupid.
Let's see.
Look, Nate, I'm just going to tell you.
Crescent City?
Yeah.
House of Earth and Blood. That's the
That's from the blank of blank and blank trilogy series.
no, it's from the Crescent City series, Ben.
Oh.
It is a third series. She has a naming scheme down. She's got it figured out.
Well, it's no gin and daggers, let me tell you.
House of Gin and Daggers. Court of Gin and Daggers.
So,
did you know I wrote Gin and Daggers, Ben? It's true. You should tell everyone that publicly.
Yeah. Well, I think if you tell Google's AI, everybody will know.
Yeah, there you go. Google's AI. Gin and Daggers, written by Nathaniel Creed. Also check out his book, Extrasensual Perception.
Well, okay, so anyway, what I was saying is...
She wrote a book about Catwoman. Anyway, go on.
Did she really?
Catwoman, Soul Stealer.
I fucking knew
DC
it.
icon.
I fucking knew it. Nate, I've been doing this so long. I've actually developed a real insight. I'm so happy. I mean, it's a shame I'll be dead soon of old age. But no, what I was saying is, and I know she has 8 books to explain this to me or whatever, but like, why though? Any of this?
Go on.
Like, the king needs a champion, but why though? And
because
the king obviously wants the champion.
Do his dirty work.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Kane.
Yeah,
he obviously wants Kane. As
in the middle
champion.
of this, he does like a little genocide, just all on his own, like for fun. He just goes on a recreational genociding. He just massacres 500 people by himself.
I thought those were his soldiers. I thought he was busy off-screen massacring his traveling party in secret.
Yeah, maybe after they had massacred 500 Eelwayans.
Aliens.
Is that real?
Yes.
Okay.
It's canon now.
So he's off massacring 500 of Nehemiah's rebels. I can't remember anybody's real name now. He's off massacring 500 of Nehemiah's rebels, and then the soldiers who did the massacre. And he's good on dirty work. He's not having a problem getting dirty work done. Also, he obviously wants the champion to be Kane. So just pick Kane. Just hire the guy.
Yeah, but first he's got to beat a drugged out former world's greatest assassin.
But why not just hire all of them?
Because he only wants the best of the best of the best of the best.
Well, okay, but you've got...
And maybe it also has something to do with all the nobles who are sponsoring their champions, Ben.
It could. I don't know, because you didn't tell me. That's what I'm asking.
Well, they keep telling us that it is a way of just keeping him mildly entertained, and it's just for shits and giggles.
Maybe, but he's
maybe he got on a lucrative deal where he had to produce a season of television, and he might get renewed. And so, you know,
he tried doing the thing where he went to failing kingdoms and screamed at them until they governed better. And you know, we got 5 or 6 seasons out of that, but like we can't really go much further. Like, how many failing fine dining establishments are there really? And now he's got to just...
And then he had Hotel Hell, but the same thing. So now he's got Hell's Kingdom.
But you know who never stopping? Fucking John Tafford, Bar Rescue. He's still out there. He's still saving America's nightlife industry. And he's just doing God's work, okay? I'm just saying maybe that's what... I've gotten way off track of my original question. But the king's up to something. I assume we're going to get more information about that. This isn't really a question in bad faith. I just kind of wish there was a little bit more about A little bit less about Selena being a magical person and a little bit more about like what are we doing here?
Yeah, I would agree that it would be nice to have some more info.
You weren't hurting for time. You had the pages.
400 some odd pages.
It's really not a long book by Sarah J Maas standards, but like this felt longer than A Court of Thorns and Roses.
I was about to say that same thing, and I think Court is 100 to 200 pages more.
Yeah.
But it felt like it got a lot out of that real estate.
She definitely is improved as a writer.
Oh, yeah. All right, Ben. So I guess I forgot to mention that she's going to tutor the princess in otter ease. And
You
she's
mentioned
gonna
that.
be
yeah.
tutored by her in eel ease. They're going to merge the house of otters and eels. I don't know what that gets you, but it sounds horrifying.
Shellfish.
And I think that they're walking around, through the garden, talking, and they come upon Kane, who's hunched over on the ground over some word marks, which are scary. No, stay away from those. The princess tells her. And Kane turns to them, and I think he like vomits blood or something, and he's like, I gotta go. And she's like, whoa, what the hell was that about? Who could be doing all these killings?
Okay, it's not quite.
What do you think these word marks are?
Not quite that explicit, but it is pretty obvious that Kane knows what the word marks are, and he's a smarmy, smirking bastard who benefits seemingly from every kill.
I was getting to the point where I was like, maybe it isn't him because it's so obvious. Is it Lady Caltaine, the mean girl? Like, is that why we keep following her around? Which I can explain her subplot real quick. She wants to get with Dorian, and Dorian doesn't want to get with her. So maybe I need to be a mean girl to Selena, and that will get rid of her somehow. And that will eventually graduate to maybe I poison her and she gets murdered.
She is on a lot of opium.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay if her plans don't make that much sense. She's on opium and she's being magically mind controlled. And by the end of the book, we still don't know all the details on that.
Yeah, no, that kind of comes out at the very end. Like,
I gather.
So were you mind controlling her? Yeah, I sure was.
Well, no, I knew that was happening. I got that when the ring. There's a couple of times where like his ring flashes and her head pounds.
Yeah, I was more paying attention to the fact that they said his eyes were black, and I was like, well, that's ominous. And the king's eyes are also black sometimes, and Edenverse is also has black eyes. I mean, it's I'm not saying that they're in any way connected, but like maybe we can connect them. Sarah J Maas, if you want to connect Edenverse,
Sarah J Maas and I both watched anime in the early 2000s.
If you want to connect Edenverse to Throne of Glass,
maybe we'll bring it back.
Oh, like connecting a plague rat to your breakfast. I think it's been used by Yahtzee before. Anyway, yeah, that's Kane. Kane is like, oh, I gotta go, and she's like, what do you think these word marks mean? And Princess Eel Woman is like, don't read into those. Don't look at them. Nothing good will come of that. Bad magic, evil. And she's like, okay, I promise I won't look into them. And she goes to the library and starts looking into them. I don't know how long we've been recording. You want me to keep going?
We've been recording for 1 hour and 22 minutes.
God damn. All solid gold.
It's up to you. You want to split this into more parts. I definitely don't see this go into 3.
Okay. So I will end on this part, which is, first of all, there's an Oktoberfest, an Oktober feast, I should say.
Solid.
And
Yeah.
Selena's not invited, and she pouts, whatever. And then she has like a weird dream that isn't a dream, but it's weird because it could be a dream. And she's summoned by some air coming through a secret passageway, Ben. And that takes her down into an undisturbed crypt of the first queen of Otterland. And the queen is like, in very mysterious ways, is like, yeah, that clock tower, portal to various other worlds. Those gargoyles, they protect it. There's evil in this castle. You got to become the king's champion, and then you got to stop it.
Well, how does
Here, have a magic pendant.
How do I do any of that? I must go.
Here's a magic pendant.
My people need
Bye.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, oh no, I've been spotted. Goodbye.
I do like at the end when she's like, but where would somebody hide a monster in this castle? Oh, wait, the labyrinth of secret tunnels.
That is a good place
Should have seen
to
that
check. Yeah.
I guess
I think this is going to be a two-parter.
I think it's a two-parter. Yeah. I think we divide here because I think this is roughly
the midway mark. We just increased the tension. We're no longer just fighting for Gordon Ramsay's affections. We're fighting to save the entire world and also Gordon Ramsay.
Are we fighting to... the jury's still out on whether or not we're saving Gordon Ramsay.
I want 3 absolutely stunning dishes portioned out onto these plates. You got 30 minutes to use all the stunning ingredients I've arranged for you.
Look at this! Look! What the fuck is this?
I can fry a Boca burger in a pan.
You can fry a I have not seen Boca burgers in a while.
Oh, dude, I just had them today for Memorial Day. That's when we're recording.
All right. Any other final thoughts before we go on to next week, part 2? The crazy conclusion that you won't believe, and you have to listen to it.
Could have planned to take out the competition. Backfire.
I am gonna kick your butt. Ow! Tasty, Jennifer.
Who gets
I am sick and feeling like
the last laugh on a weirdly sexy, totally sick.
On Words About Books, the most professional book-related podcast on the entire internet, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, just before I forget about it, because this may leave my brain between now and then. There is a scene in Sleepy Hollow, the Tim Burton movie, where Ichabod Crane discovers a pentagram under his bed drawn in chalk, and he thinks somebody's been casting spells against him, but actually it was the girl from that Sleepy Hollow story, and she was using positive white magic to protect him. That may or may not be relevant to part 2, but keep in mind that happened in a Tim Burton movie in the early 2000s. And I don't think I'm the only one who saw it.
Yeah. You know who else might have seen it? Jamie, the Gravy Man. One of our patrons in our $10 tier, Ben.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't even plan that.
You could check out his stuff at ifyouwantthegravy.wordpress.com, where he reviews everything except for books. He is legally not allowed to cover books anymore.
If you see him reading a book, you tell him that's illegal.
and then you slap it out of his hands. Then we've got the podcast you've referenced a number of times, or I guess maybe the sister podcast to Heroin Addiction. That time I got reincarnated in the same world as an anime podcaster podcast by Isekai Sensei Sama. Did I get it? Hold on, let me just... it's all calculated to make us seem just a little less professional than we actually are. That's why we're going to win the podcast competition.
Yeah.
Then we've got Spooky Shy with a Y. I understand TikTok is suing the federal government or something, and it might be around for a little longer. So you can go on there and find her on there, I guess.
For more about TikTok, see our Discord, where we have had numerous conversations about the political implications of TikTok.
All right. And then finally, we've got John Bierce, a real author. He also had reading and books in his story, but I didn't mind it there because it was about learning magic. He didn't talk about the wonders of reading. But maybe if he wants to put that in his next book, just to annoy me for a few seconds, I'll consider that a shout out to me personally.
I think you're a shill, Nathaniel. I think you're giving John Bierce too much of a pass. The guy's literally a paper wizard.
He also has an affinity for ink.
Yeah, he does. That would actually be kind of cool, though. I've gotten really into like fountain pens and like old like India ink like dip pens.
Oh my god, you are a hipster.
I am kind of about that. I am kind of about that.
All right. Anything else, Ben?
Nope, that's all the patrons. Join us next week for another exciting episode of Throne of Glass.
Same bat time, same bat channel.